everybody. Welcome to the Squared Circle right here on the voice of Nassau Community College.
Lower it!
90.3 WHPC.
Joe doesn't get how volume
Talking professional wrestling.
Yeah, we are. I don't understand why we started with this song, though, because
he's the best part of what happened last night.
I know he is, but...
Besides Elias, but we'll get into
No, Samoa Joe?
Can we... I'm sorry.
He tried so hard.
Can we, change this route a little bit? And can we just start off with that match? Because I really wanted to get into this real quick.
Let's go. I heard you wanted to
Obviously,
rant.
this was the main event, so...
Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. By the way, I'm Justin Greenberg along with Joe Ritter, and Dominic Arbolino is about to go on a little rant.
Yes, because this was the most annoying match ever. I mean, one, not only was the crowd totally not into it, because the whole card that they just saw, other than the first match, was awful.
Debatable.
Yeah, it really was not
I like
that good.
Shinsuke AJ.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Fine. That's
everything else stunk.
All right. Yeah. Other than that, fine. You can put that in there. But I mean, looking at this match, and then you have the way. All right. The one thing that aggravated me about this is that you have what is it called? Joe has him in the clutch. I'm just going to say
Coquina clutch.
Coquina clutch.
the
right?
Coquina clutch.
Whatever. So he has him in the clutch. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a little easier.
Yeah.
So and you see Roman starting the fade, and when you start the fade, your body you're not going to be able to recover from that or whatever. And the referee lifted up his hand and it just fell. That right there, when you lift up the hand and it just falls, that should be all right. The ref knows to call it. It's done over. But then randomly between 2 seconds, Roman just goes it just wakes up and gets out of it. I understand there's such thing as called an adrenaline rush, but not when you're fading out. That's not how the body works.
Joe, Dom, sorry. This is how wrestling has worked
I know.
for 40
It doesn't matter,
years.
though. It does not matter. It's just stupid.
It's not realistic.
Joe should have won that match. I know it's not realistic. Trust me. We all know that.
Yeah.
But, it's so annoying.
I know you can't find words for it. The worst part for me...
I'm going to boo Roman tonight. Hard.
We all are.
Everyone is. That's what you have to do. But my problem with this is that you put Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe as your main event, and your co-main event, like the second to last match of the night, was the WWE Championship in a no DQ match that ended, and I don't care what anyone says, that was a double DQ. They were both disqualified because they couldn't stand up.
Double count out.
Why? Why is that? This is the second time this has happened.
Well, I think
and it drives me insane. How is the main event a drag? The co-main event should have been the main event. Is a drag.
It obviously wasn't the main event because they didn't want a BS finish to close out your show, so they couldn't close it out with a double count out. So I understand that. And personally, I wouldn't have had it. I wouldn't have had it. I would have had Shinsuke win the belt.
Right. Why do you even need a double count out?
Because they want it to continue. They want this rivalry to continue, and you will see it happening at Money in the Bank. You don't know if there could be any additions to the match. Maybe if people prove it, maybe like Samoa Joe or Daniel Bryan, but I think they're both going to, I think Samoa Joe could be in the Money in the Bank, and then also you have obviously Daniel Bryan's still going to be dealing with Big Cass for at least a couple more weeks or whatever the case is with that.
I'm looking forward to Joe, not you, Samoa Joe, to win the Money in the Bank.
I want to win the Money in the Bank.
Because that's a man that needs a world title.
You know who's winning it, I think?
Who?
And there's been no qualification matches yet, but we are going to see that tonight. There's going to be some.
Really?
Yeah. I looked up on, it said what to expect for Raw, and you got people like, oh, what's next for Sasha and Bayley and all that stuff, and then you see this. I believe there's qualifying matches tonight because the Miz. I don't know if you watched the Backlash post show, but he already announced that he's going to be in a qualifying match for Money in the Bank on Tuesday.
Right.
So I think it's going to be the Miz. I think it's perfect. I want the Miz
for the second time.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think you're going to see the Miz. I think
it's going to be Joe. But we'll get to that. Do you want to talk more about the Samoa Joe Roman Reigns match, or do you want to start from the beginning?
Well, I just feel like if you're just going back to that match, so we could just get that out of the way, so we won't have to cover that again. It's kind of just this was it was kind of like it was hard for who to choose for this match. I feel like everybody knew it was going to be Roman, but at the same time, obviously you wanted it to be Joe, but. For the reason is that, you just had Brock losing, you had Roman losing to Brock, twice. He's been constantly losing, so, you can't have Roman lose again. Even though I think that would have been a cool route, and you go somewhere like that where it's like, that's a trend, so he needs to change something up. And then, Joe kind of needed to win, too, because it was his first match back. Mm-hmm. So, it's one of those, it was almost like a Daniel Bryan and Big Cass thing where they kind of both needed it. I'm going to be honest. Daniel Bryan, obviously, he's over, but I feel like, he's not, what he was yet, because
Daniel Bryan will never not be over.
No, all right. Listen, I'm not saying he's not over, but the he's not what he's not as over as he obviously used to be, I don't think. But obviously that's because, he's been not able to wrestle for 2 years.
And if you're booked in an angle with big casts, listen, it takes two to tango. If he was in there with AJ Styles, you would have seen how electric that crowd would be.
Of course. Exactly.
So nobody really cares about that rivalry.
And it's the best crowd in wrestling. The New York, New Jersey crowd has always been the best crowd.
It's up there. Chicago's really good.
Montreal's up there now after last week.
Well, they've always been up there, Montreal.
Canada's great. Chicago's great. Philly's great.
I'm going to say New York, New Jersey.
Really
I'm going to say they're going to be I think the best, because this is where Vince really puts his best foot forward. He tries to, at least, because of course it's like home turf for him.
This is where he made his mark, Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. But my whole thing is I wrote it out that Vince apparently was very distraught with at the main event. You could see people in the pay-per-view leaving. People were leaving.
I'm going to go on a rant now. Nobody cares about Roman Reigns as a babyface. It's just so done to the point where it's so forced and it's not getting over. If you're getting Rusev Day chants, I was going to put this in comparison. Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1999, in a main event. Imagine they were chanting Gold Dust, or like Billy Gunn. They're chanting for essentially a jobber in Rusev in your main event. How do you not realize that Roman Reigns isn't the guy? If it was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the main event, they wouldn't be chanting for Rusev. They wouldn't be chanting for CM Punk. They don't like Roman Reigns. And it needs to end. This experiment needs to end or be changed. Because I don't hate Roman Reigns. I think he's
a good wrestler.
I think he gives it his all. And you can't say that about everyone on the roster. So change him. I know it's a simple thing, turn him heel, but just turn him heel. It needs to be done.
Do anything.
They also need to realize that Seth Rollins is their guy, because Seth Rollins goes week in and week out and puts on great matches, usually with whoever he fights.
He does.
And everybody loves Seth Rollins. Burn it down chants happening.
They went nuts
all the time.
Nuts last night. That was insane.
Again, that's the first match of the show too.
Yeah.
And the crowd. Tonight's going to be so long, by the way. That show was like 4 hours long with a pre-show and the post-show.
It felt like it was 7 hours, though.
It was long, man.
Dragged.
These shows need to be cut in half.
And most of the matches, I said it on our Facebook page, Square Circle Radio, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. And I said it on
for the Facebook page?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. I believe you can look up the Squared Circle and you'll find us too.
Yeah.
But
I put it on our page that my favorite thing of the night was when Elias came out. That television. That was a television thing. You could do it on TV tonight, and it'd still be great. I thought that was the best part of the show, simply because it was just funny. It was funny to me to watch.
I enjoyed it.
And it was something I could laugh at, because honestly, after that first match, I honestly should have went to sleep. I should have went to bed.
That needed to be cut out, though. That, again, should have been something on Monday Night Raw. Why have a little skit in a 4-hour pay-per-view? You could have made that, a half hour less if you got rid of that thing. Neither of the tag team titles were defended.
Yeah, well,
they don't know how to book their shows.
Well, no, here's the thing. This is how I'm going to describe the last, 2 weeks, or everything pretty much, after WrestleMania, is that, it's almost like, I'm going to be honest, this is a weird comparison, but it's like diarrhea. You just need to get it out, which is what they're doing. Yeah. And then now, tonight is when, there's going to be new feuds, and it starts fresh.
I hope so.
If the Greatest Royal Rumble wasn't there, Backlash would have been 10 times better, because you would have been able to build up more feuds, and you would have probably had more of those belts been defended on Backlash instead of at the Greatest Royal Rumble. The Greatest Royal Rumble was obviously thrown in there, as we all know. We talked about it enough.
Cha-ching.
It's a money grab, and that's what he got. So whatever, we're past that. But if you would have been able to not have that, Backlash, I think, would have been a lot more hyped up and better, because they were only able to hype it up in 2 weeks. But now, luckily, which I think is pretty awesome, that the next pay-per-view, which is obviously Money in the Bank, is until June 17th.
Yeah,
gives a lot of time to build up rivalries and make it a lot more heated with the matches.
Because that was the problem before. These people would fight, and you would say, why do I care? What is the care about this? And I think now, because they were also saying they want to do Money in the Bank, of course, for men, for women, and for tag teams.
No, it's so stupid.
I was reading a tag team Money in the Bank, apparently.
I don't see that.
My thing is, first off, let's say they do it, right? Let's say they do it. Who do you put in that match? And honestly, I think there's only one team that should or could win that.
There's a few good tag teams. Sheamus and Cesaro, I really think.
I don't think they would win
Usos.
I don't think they'd win it.
New Day.
Nope.
I know who you're going to say. Rusev.
Nope.
Who?
Sanity. I think Sanity will show up. They'll qualify for it.
I don't think that's going to be a thing.
I don't think that's going to be a thing. What I do think could be a thing in the future.
But I'm telling you, think about that, though, real quick. Just think about it. The ever-looming threat of these guys who their characters are, they're insane, and the Bludgeon Brothers are the champs. And at any moment, if the Bludgeon Brothers slip up, you have the insane people show up and try to take the title. It could be an awesome angle to see, but my thing is, how are you going to build that up when you only have on SmackDown 3 matches a night, 4 matches total? Yeah. You can't really build that to the extent it should be built to. So
let's move back to reality.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, they're saying that that's something that they want to do.
I think it's only going to be, you got the women's and the men. Obviously, one, it's going to be a Raw and SmackDown winner, depending on, I don't know if it's going to be women or men, which whoever brand gets what. But also, I just want to, you brought up a point, Joe, about our Facebook and Instagram page. So I just wanted to bring up, it's the Squared Circle Radio Show. That's Facebook and Instagram. So that's where you can find us.
Yes.
If you're interested in that.
By the way, you are listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. This is the Squared Circle, where we go over wrestling news and everything going on. Justin Greenberg, Dom Arbolino, Joe Ritter.
Let's talk about the first match of the show, because that was the best match of the night. We'll get
into Backlash real quick, get that over in 5 minutes. It doesn't need any more than that. So
it was Seth Rollins versus The Miz.
Yes.
And this was a great match. The Miz brought it. And I'm not the biggest fan of his in-ring work. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, on the microphone. But he brought it. He held his own. I'm not a fan of getting your finisher done to you twice and kicking out both times. I think it's just, predictable. The fact when somebody gets a finisher these days, they're going to kick out at least once.
Here, I have a quote from one of the wrestling accounts I follow on Twitter, and I thought this described the match perfectly, at least for me, where it's the best thing about Miz vs. Rollins was that it was one of the most predictable matches on the card, but yet, both men made you buy into every single finish they had, the false finishes.
Yeah, I just didn't remember.
The crowd reacted, and you actually got into it.
How many curb stomps did Rollins hit? Only one. See, that's what I didn't like. And it took a while. Usually, I don't mind the false finish with the finisher. If you get the finisher off and it takes a while to crawl over for the pin, and then so it's not immediate. Exactly, because it's not immediate. So Rollins hit his curb stomp, and it took him a good 3 or 4 seconds to crawl over,
pinned him,
which was shocking. I would have thought that's the time to kick out, but he didn't, and great match. Rollins, when he's motivated, when he's motivated, he's top 3 or 4 in the company.
I'm excited for what's next for Rollins. I would honestly hope that
he's better than the IC title, though.
He is, but he's making the IC title great.
Again,
and I would love for him to go for Brock, even with the IC title.
Well, I think that's the guy you got to bet on at this point, because Roman obviously is not working. The fans don't like it.
They don't.
It's terrible. And then you look at the other guys. Braun's
over, man. But
Braun's over. But they ruined him with No Mercy last year, not letting him win there, or even making him look like he could compete.
Oh, with the freaking kid Nicholas.
Yeah, and then the kid Nicholas, babyface.
They're making him, shaking hands with people,
kissing babies,
taking names.
But it's terrible. And who else do you have? Bobby Lashley. He just showed up. And my thing is, and this is the worst part of this. So did you go? I remember I mentioned it 3 weeks ago. Did you look up Bobby Lashley's spear? It's one of the best spears in the business.
I didn't.
And they are not letting him use it because that's Roman's use.
Well, I don't mind that.
But my thing is, if he has an awesome looking spear, why don't you let him do it?
Because you can't take Roman's established finisher.
But it was his. It was his first.
Okay, but he's gone. That's like if a player leaves a team and then he wants his jersey number back. See you later, pal. Pick another jersey number. Roman's clearly the guy. They're not going to be change.
But clearly he's not the guy. Clearly he's not.
Okay, but they're not going to change a finisher for him. If anything,
but it's a spear. There's plenty of people who do the spear.
Make it a signature.
It's Roman's. Charlotte does it. Why doesn't Charlotte change?
Because you got one female and you got one male. Listen, I'm not a fan of people doing the same moves. I think one person should be doing a super kick, not everyone in every match. But whatever. That's today's.
All I'm
wrestling.
saying is that Bobby Lashley he's just brand new and he's got nothing that can push him into it.
Well, I mean,
can't cut a promo.
No. That match yesterday between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's the same thing that you saw on Raw the past 2 weeks.
It's just a Raw match.
Braun gets tagged in, and then he runs around, trucks KO.
You can run.
Yeah, and he trucks KO. All right, fine. It's a funny moment, but you saw it the past 2 weeks.
Right.
And then you have this whole thing with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens that you don't know what they're doing. You don't know if it's just their like relationship that it's like that, but it's just so stupid. And Bobby Lashley is like has no purpose right